Good morning. Good morning, cubies and newbies. Hi, I'm Sunshine. How are you today? How are you today? Anybody? Hope you're well. I have a cube. Okay. I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. I come and play with my cubes because it's fun for me and to meet other people who play with cubes. I'm not a speed cuber. I've created this method, ABCube method, ABC, because you're breaking it down to the fundamentals, basic, primary stuff, which anyone can learn. So, it's not a speed solving method, it's not the fewest moves method, but when I teach it in under 2 hours, and you walk away knowing you can solve every complexity Rubik's Cube with just Formula A and just Formula B. Ask me about parodies, they're a lie, I can explain that but in the meantime, every cube has 8 corners. And so whatever I'm teaching, I teach all of the cubes at the same time. I don't just teach the 3x3. And in teaching all of the cubes at the same time, you get to understand that it doesn't get harder the more complicated, the more order of operations difficult complexity it gets. It does not get more difficult to solve. So today I'm going to play with my void cube. I chose the void cube specifically because most people start with the center and work around the center. They do that because that was what made sense in the 80s when the 3x3 was all we have. But now that we have other cubes and the center can be positioned incorrectly, it's no longer as effective as it used to be. So, with the void cube, I don't know what the center is, so I had to work around it. With all of my cubes, I start with yellow, because all of my cubes have yellow, and the yellow is usually opposite either the white on the black cubes or the black on the white cubes. I've seen both cubes with both colorations. So I'm starting with corners, ignoring everything but the corners, and I'm starting with yellow, so I'm ignoring everything but yellow. So here's a cube with yellow on it, here's a corner with yellow on it, and so I select this cube. Because I selected this cube is correct, we're going to make the rest of the cube match it. Because that's how powerful you are. You select a cube and everything else will fall into place. So, I'm working on corners. And I do love to demonstrate my method. I'm very proud of it. But I like to chat more than I like to monologue, and I like to teach more than I like to demonstrate. So jump in. Jump in and ask me questions. Tell me your favorite cube. Tell me your favorite scramble. Tell me how fast you are, and I will be amazed. Because if my eyes can't follow what you're doing, it's just magic. That's just all there is to it. Because I'm old. Okay. So, I pick a corner, and I want the rest of the cube to match it. So, this is under my left thumb, as I'm holding the cube. And so I look at the cube that's under my right thumb. And for Formula A and Formula B, what you're doing is you're looking at the front of your cube as if it were a spreadsheet with rows and columns. And Formula A is 1 row and 1 column. Formula B is 1 row and 2 columns. And that's all you need. So I want this cube is correct. I want to bring this cube yellow on top. I'm only looking at yellows. I'm only looking at corners. So I look at this corner, and is there yellow somewhere on these 3 colors? The answer is yes. If there was not, I would look at the bottom and say, is there yellow somewhere on this one? And if there's a yellow in one of these 2 places, then Formula A is going to bring it to the top face. If not, then I rotate the bottom quarter turns until there is, and then I do that. So, yes, I could just muscle these up into place, but the way I teach the first 4 corners is the exact same way you do the second 4 corners, so we're assuming that the bottom doesn't want to be scrambled. So, bottom row, right column, out. This piece is going to come up here, so I move it out of the way. I move the space down. I move the cube into the space, and the cube and the space back up again. And so, yes, yellow's on top. When it is, hold the cube stable, but rotate the top layer to move it out of the way and keep it safe, protect it. And then we're going to work on this cube. So does this one have a yellow on it? The answer is no. So I look beneath it. The answer is yes. If there's a yellow one of these 2 places, formula A will bring it to the top face. If not, I rotate the bottom until there is one there. Because switching these 2 around, if there's no yellow there, is a lesson in futility. You can do it as often as you want for as long as you want. It ain't going to magically appear as yellow. So, bottom row, right column, move the piece out, move the space down, move the piece in, and the cube and the space up. Yellow's on top. Slide that out of the way and protect it. Keep going. This corner. Is there a yellow here? No. Is there a yellow here? No. So I hold the cube stable, rotate the bottom by quarter turns until there's a yellow in one of these 2 places. And when there is, and there will be, because you've got to have 4, every color has 4 corners. Okay, so when it's in one of these 2 places, we do formula A. Out, down, in, up, and yellow's on top on all 4 corners. That was our first goal. Yay, hooray, huzzah, we celebrate. And then re-scramble it and do it again until we're really comfortable with formula A. But when we're comfortable with formula A, we look at the yellows are on top, yellow corners are on top, but each corner has 2 colors, has 3 colors, not just 1. So we're going to look at those other colors and see whether I'm still ignoring the centers, I'm still ignoring the edges, but I'm going to see whether the corners sides match to each other. And green does not equal. At this point, either none of them will match, all of them will match, or 1 will match. You can't have any other situation, because they can all be wrong, they can all be right, but you cannot have 2 sides that match and not all 4 of them. So it's either 1, 0, or all. So green does not equal orange, green does not equal blue, orange does not equal blue, but purple equals purple. Okay, on this cube evidently there we have purple. So we're still working on the corners because we've got the 1 color, but we need to get all of them. So you hold the cube so that the matching color, the one matching side, is facing away from you as if it were headlights on a car that you're driving in. So formula A brings pieces to the top and twists them around as needed. Formula B moves 3 pieces around. So 1 row and 2 columns, and since we're working on the corners, we're going to use the columns that have the corners on them. So top row, outside columns. And if you look at formula B, it's a commutator, it's a mathematical 0. For every up there's a down, for every left there's a right. So it has the mathematical quality of not moving anything except for the 3 pieces you want to move, or everything else is going to stay the same. So 1 row, 2 columns. Slide the top first up, slide the top the other way, second up. Continue. First down, back, second down. Okay, so we did slide up, slide down, and we just moved 3 cubes around. Yes, I'm writing a poem. Ha! Are you excited? Okay, so then but our yellows don't look happy on top anymore. So we already know that formula A is how to bring the color back to the top. So we're gonna go right into formula A. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. And when it's the way we want, when it's on top, we rotate the top row. We keep the cube stable. We rotate the top row, and that's gonna be important for the second time we do this. And then out, down, and up. Out, down, and up. When the yellow's on top, slide it out of the way to protect it, and keep going. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. And when we see that our yellow is on top on all 4 corners, And then we look again, and this time, because we did B and A, now the corners are correct to each other. Blue equals blue, purple equals purple, green equals green, orange equals orange. So our first four corners are now correct to each other. And that really is all you need to know for the rest of the cube. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these four corners and we're going to put them face down, and we're going to abandon them because they can take care of themselves. They're very clever. And we're going to work on the second four corners. Now the second four corners, first thing you need to know is what color are they? If it's a standardized cube, opposite yellow is white, but this is not a standardized color cube. So I'm find a color that all of the four corners have in common. You can do that by looking at it, but if you need a clue, it's a color that does not touch your first four corners. So it's not purple, it's not blue, it's not orange, and it's not green, so it must be red. And sure enough, here's a red, here's a red, here's a red. They all have a red. So first four corners are done. We've established what the second four corners color is. And it's red. So exact same thing that we just did. We're going to bring our red colored corners to the top. One of them already does, so we're going to start with that there. We're just going to take that as a gimme. And we're going to bring the other red to the other four corners. And again, we're going to trust our yellows to take care of themselves, which means we're going to abandon them until our reds are back on, until our step is solved. So the step is to bring the red to the top on all four corners. So it's already on this one. We start with the corner under your right thumb. And so it's, again, same thing, bottom row, right column to work on. So we go out, down, in, up. Is our red on top? No, keep going. Out, down, in, up. Is our red on top? No, keep going. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Is our red on top? Keep going. Yes. Okay. Hold the cube stable. Rotate this cube out of the way to keep it safe. And continue on this cube. Now we're not asking if there's a red. We've already established there's a red on all four corners because it's the second four corners. So out, down, in, up until the red's on top. Red's on top. Now it's important that I said that we're abandoning our first four corners, or abandoning our yellow corners, because if I look at it before my red's back to the top, it's going to look like I messed it up, and then I have to start all over again. Oh no, you don't. It's okay. It hasn't, because as long as you do Formula A and Formula B, so slide the top to protect this one, continue with Formula A until the red's on top. And as long as you're doing that, because of the mathematics of the cube, Formula A and Formula B are not going to mess up the rest of the cube that you've already placed. Down and up. When my reds are on top, then I can look at the yellows and see, they're all still happy to each other. So red's on top. First four corners are correct to each other. Second four corners, colors on top. We check the sides. Green does not equal purple, blue does not equal green, purple does not equal blue, but orange equals orange. So again, either they're all correct to each other, none of them are, or one of them are. If one of them is, you hold the cube so that the matching is facing away from you. Again, we're only looking at the corners, we don't care about the edges. And then we're going to Formula B. Formula B is not going to mess up our yellows. Why? Because it's a commutator. So we've got slide up, slide down, and then Formula A to bring our reds back to the top. Hold the cube stable, slide that out of the way to protect it, and keep going with this one. Okay, red's on top, slide it out of the way, keep going with this one. And you don't have to know this, but the mathematics of the cubes means that it's always going to be a multiple of 6 that's going to get these to the top, and the multiple of 6 is also what doesn't affect the rest of the cube. So now that our red's on top, our yellows are still happy to each other, and our corners match. Green equals green, or purple equals purple, blue equals blue. Because what happened, it looked like 2 were correct and 2 were incorrect, but as we move these 3 around, then that rotated the top 1/4 turn, and it gave us went from 2 being correct to 1 being correct and 3 being incorrect, and those 3 can be moved. So now the first 4 corners are correct, the second 4 corners are correct. Rotate the top until the top and bottom match, and our corners are done. Ta-da! And on a 2x2, that's all there is to it. You're finished. On every other cube, we've established, because the corners are correct to each other, we've established that that's the color that each face is going to be on your cube. As opposed to just working around the center, because you might not have a center that you can tell. Alright, so that's the first hour when I'm teaching live. I teach the corners, then I'm like, great! Now do the corners on this one. See, it's the same thing. Now do the corners on this one. See, it's the same thing. Now do the corners on this 7x. See, the corners are the same. No matter how big your cube is, the corners are done the exact same way. And then I send them home with the cube, and they come back in a week, and we do the rest, because Formula A and B is all you need for the corners, and Formula A and B, once you've learned that, it's all you need for the rest of the cube, because you just choose which piece you want, which cubie you want to move, and you apply the Formula B to that cube, and throw it in the direction it wants to be until they're all where they want to be. Just one piece at a time, over and 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 over again. Do. If you've just joined me, I am Sunshine. I created the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes, and I come here to play because it's fun. Hi, kitty. I have a kitty cat. Kitty, are you gonna jump? Hi, what you doing? Show you my kitty. Show you my kitty. Where's my kitty? I cannot show. Oh, you can see his ear. Her ear. That's all you get to see. She's hiding today. All right, so that's how the corners are done. When you've got the corners done, then you just move to those corners are now the stability, and you work around them, in between them. Now, since I've been training my eyes to see these opposite colors, I've been training my eyes to look for the yellow and the red. I'm going to keep looking for my yellow and red. So I'm going to hold the cube so that those colors, as dictated by the corners, are yellow and white, are left and right in my hand. Okay? And then, so that's this way or this way. It doesn't matter, as long as my two active colors that are left and right in my hand. On a normal cube, I say yellow and white are left and right because I can. All right, so on this one though, it's yellow and red are left and right. So I hold the cube, I look for any piece in the middle that has, I'm still looking for yellow and white, so I find a yellow in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to apply Formula B to that piece. But I want my yellow or white, I want my active color to be on top, not the front, so I'm going to flip it. So my two active colors are left and right, and I have a piece in the middle that wants to move to the outside. So the first thing to do is keep the corners together with themselves. I move the corners to match the front. Okay, so the corners match the front, and determine which direction it's going. It's in yellow, so it's going not in the red direction, it's going the yellow direction. So this cube wants to go over here, wants to go boom like that. Okay, so top one row, two columns. The first column is where the cube wants to land. It wants to land over here. So this column is my first column. Second column is where the cube is to begin with, so this is my second column. So we're going to do Formula B with this column and this column, okay? And we start by, every other move is horizontal, every other horizontal is the reverse of the one before it. So we're going to move this piece away from where it wants to be, first up, back into position, second up. Keep going, first down, back into position, second down. And this piece, the yellow and green, is above the yellow, green, something corner. Here's the yellow and blue. Bring the yellow and white, yellow and red are left and right. Their active colors are left and right. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the yellow direction, so it's going this way. So, away, first up, back, second up, away, first down, back, second down. And this cube is placed, and we look for more yellow or red. Here's a red. Okay, want it to be on top, so I flip my cube, but yellow, my two active colors are left and right. Bring the corners to match the front. Okay, it's going in the red direction. See, I'm not dependent upon the center color, which there isn't one in the evens, and there isn't one in the void cube. I can still do this. So corners match the front. It's going in the red direction. Ah, I got confused by the purple there. So it's going in this direction. This cube wants to land here. Away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. And that is placed. Here's another yellow. I do this for as long as there is an opposite color somewhere in the middle. And I do that for as long as that is the case, and then I stop and assess. So, yellow's on top, bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction, away, first up, back, second up, away, first down, back, second down. This is placed. Okay, this is not a yellow or red, this is not a yellow or red, this is not a yellow or red, this is the yellow. Here's one. Here's another one. Ta-da! And for as long as there's one in the center, and as you're working with larger cubes, there's more center pieces to look, there's more edge pieces in the middle to look at. And so just keep going, bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Slide up, slide up, slide down, slide down, and that is done. Here's a red. Our colors are yellow and red on the opposites. Yellow and red are left and right. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And this cube is placed. Looking for more red or yellow. And when we don't have one, then we stop and we look to see if our sides are done. Our opposite edges are done. And the answer is either they are or they're not. It's binary. And so the yellows are done correctly, but the red has a piece that is incorrect. It's there, but it's not flipped correctly. If we have more than one, what we'll do is we'll place a piece into that space to move it out to the middle, and then place it from there. But we're going to, and so I'll do that. But we could take a shortcut right here. I could just use this piece to start my sides, but I'm not. I'm going to show you. The whole process. So this cube is incorrect. I'm going to place a piece from the middle into this space so that this one will then be in the middle where I can place it properly. So away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And so now it's in the middle. Okay, I can work on it. Flip the cube. Yellow and white, yellow and red are left and right. Green goes, corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And so now opposite edges are placed. When the opposite edges are placed, I'm going to put my red face down now because I like working with yellow. So I still have the side edges to place. I'm going to ignore my bottom, but I still have side edges to place. So We've gotten the yellow, the top is correct, so we're going to displace one of our pieces, which is where I could have just jumped to that from that shortcut before I placed that last piece. So I'm going to displace one piece down to the side, and that's going to put this incorrect piece to the top where I can work on it. And okay, so top row, first column, second column, because it wants to go. I'm displacing this piece, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Now I've displaced this yellow piece, and I'm going to work on the piece on top that's not yellow until that yellow piece finds its way back to the top. Now when it finds its way back to the top, it can either be correctly placed or it can be incorrectly placed, but it will eventually find its way back to the top, depending on how long what the cube looks like. So I'm going to work with this blue and orange piece. I hold the top stable, and I rotate the entire cube, rest of the cube, until the corners match the front. Orange does not equal blue. Blue equals blue. So the corners match the front. It's going to this side because the blue and orange is going to land over the blue and orange something corner. And so first row, so one row, first column, second column. Up, up, down, down. Okay, so that cube is placed. We look for something, and here's our, okay, our yellow came back to the top. But it's incorrect, so we need to look for a piece that's on the side that's incorrect, and we're going to displace this incorrect piece into, as a garbage piece into another, to move this one to the top so we can work on it. Any piece that's incorrect, we just put a yellow piece down into it, and then we work on it. So formula up, up, down, down, okay, and then we're going to trust that yellow to find its way back. In the meantime, here's a green and orange. Hold the top, rotate the cube until green matches the front, so the corners match the front, and it's going in the orange direction, so it's going this way. So first row, first column, second column, start by moving away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. The red is there as a visual clue to help me with remembering what columns I'm on if I get confused. Here's another not yellow on top. Putting the corners to match the front. Determine its direction. It's going, the purple and blue will land above the purple and blue something corner. So away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay. And this other yellow is going to go bippy-boppy back and forth until the yellow comes back to the top. So here's a green. Here's a not yellow. Bring the corners to match the front. Okay, it's going in the purple direction. Up, up, down, down. And the yellow came back to the top. So when the yellow's back on the top, we check to see if the sides are correct. And if they are, boom, we're done. If they're not, if the sides are not correct, or if the sides are correct and the yellow is correct, we're good. If the sides are correct but the yellow is back up to the top but incorrectly, like if this piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here, that would be a parity. Parities are caused by the fact that you can have the center can be turned. Okay, pretend this is a cube, and if the center is a quarter turn off, and I try to solve the cube in this situation, I'll get a parity, because you can see why the parity is solved if you have a 3x3, because you can see what the center looks like. But if it is if it's an odd number of turns off, you get a parity. If it's an even number of turns off, even if it's not in the correct direction, if there's an even number of turns off, that is a situation where you can get a square. And so you can solve a cube successfully if the center is an even number of turns, if it is solved, or an even number of turns off. But if it's an odd number of turns off, then you get a parity. So when you get a parity, all you have to do is rotate there are always 3 pieces to move. If there's a piece to move, there's always 3 pieces to move. If there's only 2 pieces to move, this one wants to be here, this one wants to be here. The third piece that you do not see is literally the piece that you do not see. It is the slice of the cube that touches the parity. So you make that, turn that slice 1/4 turn and solve the edges again in that scenario, and the parity disappears and dissolves, and it's all gone. So you don't have to memorize. A parity can look like lots of different things, but they're all caused by the same thing. They're caused by the fact that a center is a 1/4 turn off. One of your layers is a 1/4 turn off. If the parity shows up on the corners, excuse me, I'm yawning. Oh, if the parity shows up on the corners, it's that face that is a 1/4 turn off. If the parity shows up on the edges, it is that slice that is a 1/4 turn off. So you can memorize parity algorithms, and you can memorize different parity algorithms depending on what it looks like based on how you solve the cube. But I just go corners to corners. I just work corners for corners, then edges, then centers. So if when a parity shows up, I just 1/4 turn, fix it, and keep going, and I don't have to memorize or remember the parity algorithms. So for speed cubers, yeah, use your parity algorithm. But for those of us who just find it a fun toy and are pleased with the fact that we can pick it up scrambled and put it down solved, then we don't care about the parity algorithm. And what I found is kind of fun. What's fun for me about this method is what I found is that most people believe that everyone else is like them. Just in a human nature kind of thing, most people believe that, if someone says, "Oh, don't trust her, she's looks like she's sneaky," they're sneaky. So everyone else out there, every other method out there, you learned the 3x3, which was, I don't know how many algorithms you had to memorize for that, and I have an idea because I did back in the 80s. So you do the 3x3, then when the 4x4 comes along and we're like, well, okay, do these more algorithms to make it look like a 3x3 and then just treat it like a 3x3. So basically you're solving it twice. You're solving it as a 3x3 and then you're solving it as the 3x3. You're solving it to a 3x3 and then as the 3x3. So this kind of makes more sense to me to just put the pieces where they belong and let them pair themselves up. Because if you're, they're like, do all the centers, and you have to guess you have to make sure the center's in the correct position, because you can't tell because it's a 4x4, but you can tell if you've done the corners first, because the corners can only be correct in one way. So there's no guesswork. And then they'll pick a corner, pick an edge piece, and they'll say, okay, here's a white and red or orange edge piece. Where's my other white and red edge piece? And they have to look for them, find them, and then pair them up, and then do that for 12 times. And then once they're paired it up, then you have to solve it as a 3x3. That seems to me to be a double solve. So if you just have the corners where they want to be, and then just place. So I don't spend time looking. I do on the Minxes. Everything Minxes are opposite of cubes, but I don't spend time looking for the pieces to pair it up. I've got my yellow and white left and right, or red, and then I just find a piece and throw it in the direction it wants to be, whether it's an edge piece, whether it's a center piece, and then I just do that one over and over and over again until it's done. So 2 things to memorize: 4 moves, 8 moves. That's all you need. And when I'm teaching people in real time, inside of 2 hours, usually 2 1-hour blocks of time, they know that they can pick up any complexity cube and put it down solved. Oh, here's what I was going to say. I distracted myself because Huber X got the 5x5, learned how to solve it as a 3x3, and then got bored with cubing, came back next year and picked it up, and they forgot one of the algorithms that they needed to do for a last step for something or other, and so they're like, oh, I'll do what I can and I'll leave it until I can remember the last algorithm. Well, not before Now we just go online and look it up. But the fact is that one of my students, anyone who's learned this method, can pick up any cube in any scramble or any not scramble. They can pick up the last piece that that person doesn't remember. They can pick it up, they do apply formula B to that piece, or A, depending on what you're trying to do. Apply the AB method to that one piece, and the other person thinks, I have found generally, that the other person thinks, not only did you spend all of the time I did learning all of this, but you remembered what I forgot. So you have done so much more work in your head to be able to finish, and the fact is that all you got is A and B. That's all you need. And so you're like, wow, I forgot that. How did you remember? So you can solve the cube with just A and B, and you can undeservedly impress the ones who spent months and years learning the algorithms. So this can be learned inside of 2 hours. Usually I'd teach it in 2 1-hour blocks. Da-da, da-dum, ba-dum, da-dum. All right, so what do you guys want me to talk about next? I talk about how long I've been cubing. I talk about how I got into cubing. I talk about how I created the AB method. That was so fun. The hardest part about creating the ABCube method was that I had to take my cubes and scramble them, and I had to try to do it using just the formulas that I'd already written down. And so I'd get to something and I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. You just do this formula, this algorithm. I'm like, well, if I use that algorithm, then I've got to write that down in my book and give the person one more thing to memorize. Do I really need that algorithm, or can I do it using just my A and my B? And so before I started using B and the mirror of B to go, left this way and right this way, I actually would continually using it from the top to the left, but I would move the piece to the back and do B to move it forward and then B to place it. So I would do B twice instead of using the mirror of B. And so I could do it, but I found that was too complicated, not necessary for teaching, because most people can figure out the mirror of B. Just move away out of the space. Hello, we've got a new person chatting with me. Hi. Good morning. How did you find me? And how long have you been cubing? And how fast you have. It's imperative that we ask how fast you are, even though this is not a speed solving. I always look in the Rubik's Cube category. Great. Okay, well, that's the only category I'm in, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with cubing, but as far as streaming, I haven't really done that. So yeah, this is a brand new self-contained method of solving the Rubik's Cube, and it works on every complexity Rubik's Cube. Speed cubing since COVID. I took advantage of COVID to get this finalized and published up online. Average about 14 to 15 seconds. So yeah, you can find me on speedsolving.org. If you look at my bio on my dashboard, however that's done, I don't know. But you can find me on speedsolving.org. I've got a YouTube. I've got a right here, abcube.how. Please forgive the typo when I put it in there. That comma is supposed to be a period. But abcube.how is where my formula is, where my tutorial exists. And instead of like, here's a scrambled cube, here's how I solve it, now you go do. I took all of the cubes and I broke it down step by step, so that you just go to the video that is the step you want to work on, and then the next step is a different video. Because I always got so frustrated trying to look at YouTube tutorials, and it's like, I need to know how to do this one thing. And they'd say, okay, here's a cube, here's the part you're working on. I went too fast, I didn't explain it. And so I'd have to like watch that over and over again. So when I created my method, I broke it down step by step. First step is select a corner, pick a color, bring your corners to the top. Second step is move the corners around if necessary so the corners match. And then turn it upside down, do the exact same thing over again. And so the corners is chapter 1 of my book, my manuscript. And I am looking for the right agent. So I want this published. I want this physically, tangibly in a book so I can say, look what I did. I'm old. I want to physically hold it in my hand. So it sounds like very helpful for anyone wanting to learn. I have, when I teach, and everybody, I teach most people who come, I carry a cube with me everywhere. And people, it's usually like a 7 by, and people are like, wow, can you really solve that one? That looks complicated. It's so big. I'm like, oh, I can teach you to solve it. It's really easy. Watch. Put it in their hand and make them, show them what Formula A is. And I said, see, we just brought this corner to the top. Wow, it works. I can do this. Come over to my house. I'll teach you in 2 hours. 2 teach hours later, and they can pick up any size Rubik's Cube and put it down solved. Because I've taken the timing out of it. So I have successfully taught inside of 2 to 3 hours, depending on how old they are. Everyone who's ever asked me to teach them, or who's ever agreed to let me teach them, because it's fun to teach. So, with the exception of my sister, because she is as stubborn as I am, and she said, 5 minutes in, she's like, oh, you know what, my brain just doesn't work this way. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But you have fun. I'm sure it's amazing. So I gave her a 1x1 cube, and we parted. We went. we made peace and went our ways. When I first published this online on speed solving, I would get a lot of people say, I've been trying to teach my dad, and he just doesn't get the beginner's method, but now he can solve the cube because yours was so simple. So I just that just feeds my ego. I love it. I love being able. My favorite people to teach are the ones who say, oh no, my brother tried to teach me. I've tried it before. I can do one face. But it's too complicated for me. My brain just doesn't work that way. And I'm like, really? Look at this. And I take a napkin and I draw that A and B on the napkin. Or I have it on a wall, I have it on a poster on a wall in my bedroom. I'm like, there, okay? Formula A. You hold the cube, you look at it as if the front of the cube is a spreadsheet with rows and columns. And you've got 1 row and 1 column. And if Formula A works on the corners, it works on the centers. You can work on the centers as well. So if you're in boxes, because someone did boxes for you, you apply Formula A will fix boxes as well. Instead of using the bottom row and the right column, use the center row and the center column. So you move this piece away, move the space down, move the cube into the space, and the cube in the space back up again. Okay, and again, out, down, in, up. And that's how you fix spaces. You fix the if you're not following me, this is Kitty. This is Fluffer Bunny. Fluffer Bunny is Cube certified. Fluffer Bunny helps me teach. Hey! She doesn't want to be petted. I'm like, hey, the rule is you come to me. I get to pet you. If you don't want to be petted, go away. All right. Come back. I'm here tomorrow. I'm here every morning, and every weekday morning plus Saturday morning. And if you're not following me, that'd be great. I love I love the chime that rings in my ear that says someone followed me. It gives me a little endorphin rush. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. You guys go have fun. Be nice to yourself. Have a great day. And have fun. Bye.